Hey guys, welcome to Flyer St. Joe's Workshop. Hey, we're going to do a quick tutorial on building your own wire extensions. Some things that I've learned the hard ways, things like that. I hope that you guys can see the fine detail. But again, I'm sorry to say the only way to do this is to buy the products, and then it'll make a lot of sense once you guys see it. Radical RC builds a starter kit that actually comes with this tool. This tool right here is 17 bucks on Radical RC. And I've tested a lot of people's connections, wires, and it's come down to I love AirWild pin connections and AirWild wire and Radical RC pin connections and wire. Everything else I have not. When you start doing super long runs is when you'll start noticing things. Other brands of wire are just silver wire. Okay, when you guys run this wire at 10 feet and then you run a true copper, you get a better signal out of this, and you also get a cleaner no RF. Okay, this wire right here can cause a little bit of RF. Not horrible. But when you start running super long runs is when you guys are going to see this. If it's in a 100cc airplane, probably never going to even notice this. You'll probably even say, Joe's nuts. But I am nuts. I do know that. So it's okay. So let's get into what makes a good pin connection also. You want lots of gold plating on your pin connections, okay? These fit super nice and tight, and they're going to have a lot of gold on the ends where the wire connects. And that is big. That is huge. That is what's going to cut down on some RF for you. So let's get into straight to building just a Futaba male here. So these come in bulk from Radical RC, okay? Just bend them off. I don't really cut them off. I don't really worry about it. Now, again, you got to think of this, your orientation. Grab an old servo. Make sure you guys don't mess it up. If you do, it's pretty simple, okay? If you mess up and, I just built this connection, all you got to do is take a razor knife and unlock it, okay? You just lift up the tab lock one at a time, and you guys can pull this right apart, okay? And then you can flip it around. It's okay. Except for on a female. Okay, once you put the main body on the backside, they lock down. So really take your time and make sure you guys are orienting them correctly. AirWild, with their old stuff, used to come with a diagram, and I always just leave these on the top of the box if I get in a hurry and I'm not wanting to think. That's why these are taped in the top of my deal. So that's a really good cheater sheet that I really like. So again, going to building a connection. So I'm going to orient this. The J is always your signal, okay? So I'm going to set this out, and it goes signal, power, ground, okay? And I'm going to cut this off straight, okay? And now I'm going to strip the wire 1/4 of an inch, okay? Now most of your wire, because the silicone wire is twisted together, the actual wire inside also has a twist, okay? Now, you're going to spin this with your fingers nice and tight. Now this does two things for you. It's spinning the wire up underneath here just a little bit, which is shrinking down the silicone just barely, okay? This is one of the keys to why my wire does not pudge up when I crimp this together. Also, using a ratchet style tool can over pudge it, things like that. Now, hopefully you guys can see this. There's a little J hook and a big front piece right there, okay? Now I'm going to set this in there to where the silicone is behind behind this little piece right here. This is going to wrap around the silicone and stop it from pulling out. And this piece right here is going to wrap around the copper to ensure a good connection. Okay, now the tool also has steps. Okay, sorry. This side over here is lower. This side over here is a little bit higher. So when it closes, that side over there is less tight than this side. And this all comes into play here. Okay. They have also built up in the top, they have a little bit of a hook. Okay. They have a little center. So as this piece comes in there to crimp, it rolls those corners in on themselves, okay? That is why it's key the way you're holding the tool, okay? So we're gonna leave that silicone right there against the edge. Pull your wires back just a little bit. You're gonna set this in there, not touching that back piece because that's what locks in your plastic. You're gonna squeeze down, okay? First hit right there, you're gonna notice it only did half of that front piece, okay, and nothing on the back, okay? Now we're going to spin the thing around again, and we're going to the big side of it, and we're squeezing down, and it rolls it in on itself. Now I move the tool forward a little bit more, and I give it a good squeeze. Okay, now that finishes the front connection. Now the back connection is round, and it's okay. You can put it together, but what I found in the past is it's really hard to push it up in there, and it makes it, that's again, the silicone's not being held very well, okay? Now this is the last little trick that is definitely from me learning. I go to the small side here one more time, and I give it a little tap. Oops, I went to the big side, sorry. And I give it a little tap, okay? Not a huge tap, okay? And all that does makes a nice little line right in here in the top piece. Hopefully you guys can see this. And that just tightens it up to where that silicone won't pull out. Now you're gonna notice that that barely pudges the silicone. But on the bottom side, it does not have a line. Okay, it's nice and clean. You're going to push this connection in there until it locks in. Push it all the way in. Then you're going to come to your next one. I'm going to do red. Now the reason I set these into the housing is because I found in the past that my tool, I'm in a hurry, I'm in a super tight area, and you accidentally crimp your end on accident with your tool as you're working. So that's the reason I just push those together. Now, silicone right up to the edge. Grab your tool. Give it a single squeeze. That's the first connection. Spin your tool around. Go to the big side. Give it a squeeze. That rounds it. Okay. Come forward. Finish that one. Flip the thing around and tap it, okay? You're gonna notice that that's got a nice little line out here, and that front one is totally closed up. Now again, I'm just gonna set this into the housing and lock it in. Now, if you ever have a problem because you're running thicker wire and it's not pulling up in there, you can run the razor blade right down along this edge here, and you can push it forward and you'll hear it lock. You just kind of push on these back pieces and you'll hear them lock in, okay? But if you do that last double tap, you don't have that problem as much. Again, spin your wire nice and tight. Set that silicone right up there to the back edge of that. First tap. Spin it around to the big end. Nice and squoze. Come forward. Now it's finished there. Now don't forget to go to the small side one more time. Give it that nice little tap, okay? Now, you can push it right together. Now again, sometimes when you're doing these, you can accidentally curve your pin in, especially on the female side, because they're a really nice long pin. So again, just barely touch it so that it's nice and straight. Push it in there, you'll hear it lock in. It's nice and locked. There's a beautiful pin connection that when you lock these together, they're wonderful. You can really feel them push together nice and tight, and so that you have a nice connection. They're not loose. It's a good connection, okay? That's what you're after. So I really hope this helps you guys. Again, for tools and pin connections, I highly recommend AirWild or Radical RC for their wire and their pin connections. I've tested this stuff at 12 feet long just for testing sakes, and Better Wire really does show its face at long leads. So hopefully this helps you guys, and thanks again. And sorry for not doing this live. We just really wanted to get in on the detail. I really hope that this helps so that we didn't have signal issues and blurriness. So hopefully it helps. Have a wonderful night. Thanks.